Hello and welcome back. So in this part we're going to work on the square downlighters. So this is a little image I found on the net of a similar thing to what we want, like a sort of brushed aluminium maybe, and then a circular chrome insert there. Now the dimensions of these are about 80 mm square, so that's the sort of look and feel we're going to go for. So I'm going to just jump straight in. We're going to add a new mesh layer. I'm just going to call this down lighter. Now we're going to go over to the basic toolage again and the cube. I'm just going to drag this out 80 mil, 80 mil, and then probably about 5 mil thickness. Let's have a look at this, zoom in on this. Now it is pretty insignificant. So I'm just going to go up by sort of 4 mils, just about 9 mils. So it's almost a centimetre thick. Okay. So we've got this like a circular piece in the middle. So same sort of thing again. We're going to just we're going to do this in sub D. So I'm just going to do Shift D and just facet it a few times. Just so basically we've got a quadrant of 4 sort of polys in the middle there. Now I quite like the lip round there. The top I'm just going to delete. That'll harden up that edge, and this is going to be set. So I just want to do a quick test before we do any more sort of before we take this any further. I'm just going to just do that basically, and just see how big this opening is coming out at. Okay, so it's not quite big enough. Okay. Excuse me. So what I'm going to do, I'm basically going to take these end edge loops there, and I'm going to hit R to scale, and I'm going to bring them nearer to the edge, and then R to scale. Now I want to get these as basically a square in the middle there. Okay. Just another test. Okay, that's a lot better. That may be a bit too big, but we'll run with that. I'm also checking the curvature here. That's quite a nice curve. So we'll say that's pretty much where we need it. Now I like the idea of having this sort of a slight lip here. So we're going to add that in as well. So basically I'm just going to get those polys there. I'm going to hit the B key and I'm going to scale them in. Shift click, and then we'll drop the tool. Now this will leave us this sort of a ring effect in there. So we're going to do the same as we've always done. We're going to the B key, bring it in a bit, shift click, bring it out a bit, shift click, a bit more, shift click, spacebar, drop the tool, and that'll give us this sort of raised lip else we've got here. Now basically from this it just sort of sets back in. Okay, I'm going to undo a few of these. To there. Because we can do all this in one maneuver. It's always easier to do things in one maneuver if we can. Okay, so I'm going to pull it in a little bit like that. I'm going to do shift click. Now this is going to be the actual ring, the chromium ring. So now once we get it to here, that's going to make the ring. Now we can pull this to where we need it, and that's also scale, that's also tapering. Like that. I'm going to do shift click again. And shift click in. Now I'm also going to put the lens bulb in here as well while we're at it. So I'm going to just bring it in, bring it out, shift click. So I'm basically trying to get a okay, we'll see how that looks. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we've got our outside piece, and then this sort of ring here is going to be that's going to be the brushed aluminium, and then we've got the shiny chrome, and then we've got the bulb lens in the middle. Now we'll worry about all the surface and properties of these and making this different to this and this when we come to the surface, so don't worry too much at the moment if you're concerned at all about how we're going to make certain areas brushed aluminium as opposed to chrome. I'm just going to save that for a minute. I just want to do a quick test on subdividing it again to make it even more square. The only reason I'm thinking this, I'm just thinking out loud. Even though the one we're looking at here is circular, the room by its very nature is very square, like the whole cavernous effect of the walls sort of almost coming in on themselves and all these. So I'm not sure whether to sort of sub-D again and have it a square sort of lens, or now we'll leave it as circular for now because it is only a case of doing shift and D. You know, it's not like it's not going to cause us any work in the long term if we do fancy squaring it up. So now for these bulbs, I'm going to position two above the bath. Now when we come to do the lighting in here, we can go two ways. We can either use spotlights, which are sort of the built-in modo type lights which you use for these sort of downlighters, or you can use photometric lights, which is what we're going to use. And they're basically light manufacturers. They produce photometric actual sort of computer files which we can download, and I've got a whole slew of them I've collected over the years, and you'll find some in the directory I've given you, in the reference directory. And we can plug them in, and and basically it takes into account the actual lenses of the bulbs itself. You know, some of the pattern, and you know, like the sort of reflectors within the lenses, how it sort of projects the light like onto walls and things. And my explaining it might not sort of seem very exciting, but when you see it in a final render, you can see it looks a whole lot better. It does. There is some downsides of using photometric lights. Well, only one really, and that's the case of it. Just it does up the render time quite considerably. But for like an animation, maybe it'd be the hit might be more than the time in rendering might be too much of a hit. Especially if you might be rendering a multitude of frames, you see thousands of frames. But for a static render like we're doing, then it's fine. Now we are going to need to cut into these sealant blocks, because at the moment the sealant block is cutting through the lens, but I don't want to start boolean blocks into these until we know exactly where they're going to be, so I'm not even going to worry about that at this time. Now I've got them two there. I'm not sure whether to go 2, 1, 2. I think if we do 2 all the way along, I think we're going to end up being a bit too bright. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go over to the duplicate there, and I'm going to hit clone. I'm just going to put 2 on for now. I'm just going to click in the viewport. I'm just going to basically pull these up until one's in the middle of the sink. That's where you're going to be standing when you're doing your girls are doing your makeup. So I want to make sure there's a light close to this area here. I'm also going to select one. I'm going to copy and paste it. I'm going to bring it right into the centre of the building here, and I'm just using the ruler tool so I'll see how big this gap is. Now this other one here, okay, there's our little spots. I'm just going to copy another one. Make a little baby one to sit. that might be too many. We won't be able to get just away with one less there, but we can soon clone them out again. In fact, we'll do it now because I think it is definitely going to be too many. Okay, that's going to be better. Okay, so there's our lights. I'm pretty happy with actually where they're going to go, so we will just cut where they are now. Now what we're going to do, when we come back in the next part, there is a few little changes I want to make. I want to bevel some of these edges. The edges, the predominant concrete edges, just not a rounding on them as such, just one flat 45-degree cut. So we're going to obviously use that edge there, these two edges at the bottom there, and these two on this down piece. So when we come back in the next part, we'll do that, plus we'll cut into this sections here, so these lights can fit in there. So I'll see you back for that part. Bye for now.